Hey, this is Gavin Palmer with Hero Looking for Group, and this is Worldview 42, Three Worlds, in response to Grimgriz's participation. He did not like my he did not find my previous response to his questions about bulking the system. He did not seem to find that acceptable, or at least wanted to make sure that he clarified the question. And I'm glad he attempted to clarify the question because it is matching up with what I thought he was asking, and I did intentionally avoid answering the question, but I answered it today, and I basically said it's a good question. I don't know. But I will use this opportunity to talk about three worlds. So Grimgris's response to my previous video was to clarify. The system is allegedly designed to prepare us for the world to come. Can one refuse? Or are we constantly recycled until we submit to being prepared? And so I remembered, and that's why I appreciate the participation, because it helped me remember. I have seen a world that could be described as the world to come. It was a vision shown to me by what I call an angel, and I could talk about the angel that I met. And it wasn't just I could talk about it, but this world to come, this vision was a place where there was light and there was life, and there were inhabitants. Some were flying, and some were in these kind of ships that were doing water rides, and there was golden towers, and then these water rides would come out of the tower. And I hesitate to say towers, but what attracted my vision was that there were these water rides. It was light. It was life. There were life. And I want to contrast that with another vision where I went to a place of darkness. And the one who took me there, I would describe to be like a demon. And I could contrast the angel and the demon and how they behaved and how they treated me. And it tells you something about, it informed me about the proper way of being and how to recognize when someone is possessed by a holy or an unholy spirit. The vision of the dark place, there was a lake of fire, there were rivers of fire, and there were these floating islands of rock, and it was like there were these prisons or cages, and I could go maybe in a little more detail, like these floating islands of rock. It was like there was a cave, and on the entrance to that cave were bars, and they were everywhere. Some of these cages were next to the rivers of fire, some were next to the lake of fire, some were on these islands that were floating above, and it had this red orange glow like lava, and it seemed like maybe you were underground, and it was dark, so I don't know if you were underground or if you were just in this dark dimension. But so those are two visions of, I would say, in response to Grimgriz's potential worlds to come. I will note that there were no inhabitants of this place where there was a lake of fire. I have jokingly said in the past that I've been to hell and nobody was there, but I would say that it was prepared. So in answer to the question, can you balk the system, I would say be careful, because there is a place prepared that is miserable and lonely and dark, where there is suffering. And there is a place that is not miserable, that was enjoyable and beautiful, where there was life and growth and light. And so those are the two potentials, and then there is our world where we're at now. And I met the ruler of this world, who is deceptive and does not care about producing the most good fruit possible. That is not the goal of the ruler of this world. The goal of the ruler of this world is mostly self-interest. And so the ruler of this world, it permeates, it's outside of us, and it's within us. And so that's why meeting the ruler of this world ultimately led to Revelation 1 with Worldview 42. It was my attempt to explain the situation we find ourselves in, where there is no organization of people on earth that is attempting to produce the most good fruit possible. And the reason, a reason, I'm connecting that with my vision of, and my meeting the ruler of this world, which, that vision of that world, it's like this, the ruler of this world is in its own kind of tower, where in it is hidden and can see everything. So once I entered like the throne room of the ruler of this world, you could see everybody, but nobody else could see into the throne room. It's a kind of, there's a secret and there's a deception, and the ruler of this world can get into every single one of our minds. The ability, the capability of the ruler of this world to get into our minds is, it's almost like we're born into this world and we have no defenses against the ability of the ruler of this world to get into our mind. The odds, it seems like the odds are against us, if we want to produce the most good fruit possible. The ruler of this world is very powerful, and is like, if it was a work of art, the ruler of this world's work of art is like power structures that are very capable. Uses the tools of deception, uses the tools of keeping secrets, and working against those who would produce the most good fruit in order to preserve and protect the power that the ruler of this world has. So, can we balk the system? The answer is, it's a good question. I don't know. There's an infinite number of things I don't know, but I will be honest about what has been revealed to me. I can talk about the demon that pulled me into the realm with the lake of fire. I can talk about the angel that invited me to see the world to come, that is beautiful with light and life, where there were participants. And I can attempt to talk more about the ruler of this world and the structure that I had to navigate to arrive at the throne room, and the obstacles I had to get around, and the entities I met as I made my way up the tower into the castle, up into the throne room. So, yeah, I've had revelations, but I don't know, I don't have all the answers. So be careful if you're trying to balk the system. There is a potential for a lake of fire, but there's also a potential for a very beautiful place. So that's my response.